Hello, hello. Oh, it's happening again. I think we're live already, but I don't see it showing up. So give me a moment. Let me see. Let me see. Yes, we are live. I'm just going to share the link with everyone in the Facebook group. And oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna give me a moment because it doesn't show up the way I'm used to, but let's see if this works. Um, mm, 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 mm. Let's see. It's posting just now. Fantastic. It did work. All right. So Facebook updates, Facebook updates that I wasn't aware of. Let me go live at the same time on Instagram so that we're all here together and we can start the training of today. So hello, everybody in the Facebook group. Hello, everyone on Instagram. So great to be here. For those that have seen the story on Instagram earlier today, I am super duper excited to share this training with you today because it's a preparation and a little bit more information about how to improve your yoga teaching skills. And in 2 days from now, we start the Teach with Confidence mini course. And on this mini course, I will help you explore all the vocabulary that you need to teach yoga in English, learn the sentence structures that you can use to guide your students effectively and accurately, and also take you through the 6-step process to teach with total confidence in English. And because we're starting this, obviously we've sent out emails to you. Some people have introduced themselves. And I've received a lot of emails from people that are preparing themselves for the mini course and told them a little bit about told me a little bit about their journey. And what caught my attention is that many teachers in our community complain that the teacher training didn't prepare them enough to write sequences, or that they didn't get enough time to learn how to write them. But your ability to write sequences, to write high quality sequences, massively boost your confidence. And that means theme sequences that feel logical and intuitive, sequences that you can use again and again without feeling repetitive. Also, sequences that offer a really great, well-rounded experience for your students, including the development of strength and flexibility, Sthira and Sukha, strength, flexibility, and mobility, Sthira and Sukha. Yes, sequences that inspire your students to continue their spiritual journey. And also sequences, I'm sorry, there's a lot of people joining, so I'm waving at all of you. Sequences that provide your students with enough to learn, or simply put, sequences that your students love to practice and that you love to teach. And sequencing is a skill. Just as learning vocabulary, it requires practice to master this skill. And therefore, on the English for Yoga Teachers course, I've dedicated an entire module to learn and develop and practice your sequencing skills. It's one of my favorite modules as well, because this is where I see that most of the teachers make massive progress in their confidence building. Because suddenly, when you know how to teach, when you know how to sequence, you start to really own your authentic expression as a yoga teacher and obviously feel a lot more confident. But what really is sequencing, and what does a sequence consist of, and what is a well-rounded sequences? A well-rounded sequence. In this training, I'm going to give you answers to all those questions. Yeah, remember, the mini course starts in 2 days. So on this mini course, I will help you find and help you build confidence in your teaching. You can we've opened enrollment 3 weeks ago, so you can sign up still. You can sign up before the 10th of March and get everything for free. That's free access to the live sessions, but also free access to the recordings of the live sessions and the materials or the homework. Yeah, so you can find that link in my bio. Now, if you haven't already, you can also register for the waitlist of the English for Yoga Teachers course. And this course starts on the 24th of March. It's a 4-month program in which I help you build your sequences, build confidence, find your voice, and a lot more things. It's a really, really thorough program. And if you sign up to the wait list, you will get a $350 discount. Yeah, and with the discount, you can invest in your professional development without feeling guilty about spending too much money. So these links are in the bio, link to the mini course completely for free until the 10th of March, and the link to the English for Yoga Teachers course, which is a 4-month program. And if you sign up to the waitlist, you get $350 off. All right, but let's begin the training of today. What is a well-rounded sequence? I want to start explaining with what really sequencing is, right? If you have any questions, write in the chat, write in the comments of the training on Facebook or on Instagram, and I will get back to your questions after. But let's begin with what really is sequencing, yeah? A sequence is a series of events or a series of actions that follow each other. And in yoga sequencing, this refers to the way that you put together your asanas or your positions, the transitions, the breath, and in what order. That means the sequence as a whole, but also parts of the sequence. So think of the warm-up, which can be considered a sequence in itself, or the sun salutations, peak pose, or the preparation for peak pose. All of those little parts within your sequence can also be called a sequence. In yoga asana, a sequence is the progression, the progression of postures, but it can also be the breath, the mind, emotions, spiritual elements that eventually bring you in a state of total bliss. And how to sequence and the purpose of sequencing, I teach you all of that in the English for Yoga Teachers course. But for now, just remember that the sequence is the structure of your class. So sequencing is how you put all the elements together. All the elements that you want to teach and how you put them together in a logical and intuitive order. Because if you have a very logical and intuitive order, your students can explore, learn, they can develop in all the ways yoga has to offer. So physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. Really, sequencing is a skill. It's a skill that you can learn, but sequencing requires you to have profound knowledge of the body, of the mind, of the breath, of the asanas, the effects, the benefits, and also the possible challenges or the harm and the danger that these asanas and other exercises that you include in your sequencing include. Right? So that's a little bit of an overview of what sequencing really is. Now, what does a sequence consist of? Yeah, what do we include in the sequence? First of all, the way that you structure your sequence depends a little bit on the type of yoga that you teach. Yeah, there are set yoga sequences and sequences that have a little bit more freedom. So if you think of set yoga sequences, they are always the same. Yeah, they are the same every time you teach them. And you see these set sequences in, for example, Ashtanga yoga or hot yoga. Some of you know hot yoga as Bikram yoga. But styles like Vinyasa or Hatha, they offer a lot more freedom. Yeah, these styles allow you to be very creative in the way that you put your asanas or the order of all the things that you want to teach together. Yeah, so the sequencing skills in Hatha and Vinyasa, but also other styles. Sorry, not your sequencing skills. The sequencing order of the things that you teach is not always the same. And the majority of people here, they teach Hatha or Vinyasa. Yeah, so that means that when you sequence, you can put your sequences together using different asanas, different themes, different purposes, different focus points. It can always be something else. It doesn't always have to be something else, but you do have that freedom. So when you create your sequences yourself and you want to offer well-rounded sequences, include a combination of asanas that stretch and that strengthen, but also relax the body. Yeah, they provide sthira, which is stability and strength. And they also provide sukha, which is comfort and ease. They meet your well-rounded sequences, they meet your students where they are at. And they give them a really healthy challenge to progress and develop. And also enough ease to relax in their sequence or by the end of the sequence. Apart from the asanas that balance and strengthen the body or offer an opportunity to increase flexibility and mobility, they also provide development with different types of elements. Yeah, I'm going to explain what these elements are. So what then is a well-rounded sequence? A well-rounded sequence is a combination of a variety of asanas that target the major muscle groups. They have counter movements, but a well-rounded sequence also includes pranayama or breathing exercises, mindfulness and meditation, and relaxation, as most of you know, in savasana. Yeah. So pranayama, such as Ujjayi or Nadi Shodhana, help develop awareness and deepen the practice and improve overall health. Meditation or mindfulness can help your students become more aware of what they really feel, what their emotions are, what thoughts are going through their heads. Yeah, meditation is something that you can offer before, during, or in the relaxation part of your classes. And relaxation really refers to easing the tension in the body, easing the tension in the mind, allowing for a greater sense of peace and well-being. Okay, I'm going to give you examples because this is a lot of information and I want you to be super clear on what a well-rounded sequence is. So to give you some examples, sometimes teachers choose to practice pranayama and meditation at the beginning of a yoga class. And if you practice at the beginning, it helps to set the tone of the class, to set an intention, to check in with the breath, with feelings, emotions, but also prepare for the journey of the movement part, the physical part of the class. Other times, teachers choose to do the movement first and practice asanas, and then do pranayama and meditation. And this, for example, helps to first release all the energy that doesn't serve these people in the pranayama and the meditation practice, and make room to breathe and total calming of the mind. Yeah, so by incorporating a variety of activities, and I would like to suggest all these types of activities, your students will be able to gain a lot more benefits from your practice. Now, a very, very common question that most teachers have when they speak about sequencing is, how do I structure the asanas? In what order do I put my asanas together? Now, all of this, I teach you in a lot of depth on the English for Yoga Teachers course, but I do want to give you a little insight into things that you can start working with today. So the order in which you put your asanas together heavily depends on the outcome or the result that you want to work towards. What is important though is that your asanas progressively become more challenging, meaning that they allow your students to warm up, steadily increase strength and flexibility. And it means that you start with simple variations followed by more challenging variations of the asana. So you really want to target the major muscle groups in the body, such as the arms, the legs, your back, the core. Of Right, we are back on Facebook. I'm going to give it a moment for Instagram as well. Hi. Let me see. Right. We back. It looks like yes. Thank you so much for staying with me. I'm so sorry. We lost connection for a moment. Absolutely, Barbara. I will send you the replay in the DMs. I will tag you in the video. I will send it to you. All right. So sorry, everyone. And thank you so much for staying with me. I was explaining how to structure your asanas. Yeah, how to, it was me. Yes, it was me. So how to structure your asanas and in what way, in what order to put them. Yeah, where was I? So we want to progress from simpler variations to more challenging variations. Yeah. And you want to target your arms, your legs, the back, the core. And we really want to make sure that you also give your students time to breathe in these asanas and then slowly go to the next one. You can do that by using transitional asanas as well. Yeah. So next to strengthening, gaining flexibility, you also want to include asanas that relax the body and relax the mind. And these can be added at the beginning of your class, during the sequence, but especially not to forget after your sequence. Yeah. And asanas that can help you do that are, for example, reclined spinal twists, seated asanas, maybe a seated twist, happy baby, corpse pose. There's a lot of asanas that you can use for that. Now, in a typical sequence, you may see that you start on the floor to ground down, followed by Surya Namaskar to warm up and stretch the major muscle groups, then practice standing asanas such as warrior asanas, and then followed by balancing asanas, seated asanas, and maybe even core activating asanas, inversions, and back bends. To finish, eventually, as you know very well, in Savasana. In whatever order you put your sequence, you want to offer a variety of all these different types, and I like to call them asana categories. And we have a course or dictionary for this, the Interactive Yoga Dictionary, where I explain all these categories of asanas as well. Yeah, now to make your classes even more enjoyable, you want to offer variations, suggestions, and also explain the use of props. Props are, for example, blocks, blankets, straps, the wall, chairs. There's a lot of things that you can use to facilitate the practice of your students. These things really promote inclusivity and accessibility. Yeah, that's a different thing. I will not go into much to depth of that today because I've got more to explain about sequencing. But in the English for Yoga Teachers course, next to sequencing, I've also have a module completely dedicated to making your classes more accessible and inclusive. Yeah, and you do that by learning to read bodies. You learn how to offer suggestions and also how to offer props and very effectively explain how to use these props. So if you want to learn how to do this, reserve your spot to the waitlist of the course, because with the waitlist, you get $350 off, right? Links are in the bio. But going back to sequencing, because we all know that sequencing is more than just asana, is more than just giving instructions. One thing is to instruct an asana. One thing is to instruct an asana class. But another thing is to create a well-rounded experience for your students. You know very well that your students come to yoga not only to stretch their bodies or to become stronger. Yeah, they're also there to enjoy a moment to themselves, to connect mind, body, and breath, and maybe even reflect on specific themes or topics that you use in your classes. Students absolutely love to set intentions with you and to cultivate positive energy, to cultivate self-awareness, to cultivate confidence within themselves. Or on the other side, release negative energies, things that don't longer serve them. Whatever it is, this type of experience requires more than simple instructions. And I believe that a well-rounded experience, a well-rounded sequence, also includes a personal touch. And this personal touch you can do with the help of mindfulness and meditation, and also using your pranayama breath exercises. Now, mindfulness and meditation is something that a lot of teachers fear because they never learned how to do this. Yeah, they can practice by themselves, but teaching those things is completely different. So one way you can learn how to offer meditation and mindfulness is, first of all, learning how to write mindfulness or meditation scripts. Yeah, mindfulness and meditation scripts require more in-depth knowledge of language that we use for metaphorical expressions or language for imagination. Now, if you teach yoga in English or if you teach yoga in another foreign language, this is the next level in your language learning, and it takes some time. But just as it requires practice and time to teach asana, it also requires a little bit of time and practice to learn metaphors in imaginary language. But you can learn all of this. You can learn all of this. And especially if you know what your learning style is, where to start, how to continue, and what to focus on. But all of those things are for another day. I'm speaking about sequencing here. So teaching well-rounded yoga sequences can be very challenging, but super rewarding if you know what you're doing and how you can do this. It will be super rewarding, a super rewarding experience when you see that your students absolutely enjoy what you're doing and when you feel extremely confident in what you're teaching them. So to ensure your class meets all the elements, including the development of strength, flexibility, relaxation, and self-discovery, I recommend that you practice lots and lots and lots, that you plan ahead, and that you design your sequences in a way that will target all of the elements that I spoke about in this training. So I'm going to give you a quick summary. If you want to, grab pen and paper, write it down, or write it down in your notes on your phone, because I'm going to give you the 6 things that I think all well-rounded yoga sequences include. So number one, what you want to do is start by defining what your style of yoga is, the style that you teach. Remember that if you teach something like Ashtanga or hot yoga, you have a set sequence, and this sequence doesn't change. So there's not a lot of room for freedom and creativity to start designing your own. Yeah, but if you teach vinyasa or hatha or yin or restorative or what are some other styles? There's a lot of different styles that have a lot of freedom and creativity. So in that case, you do want to pay attention to your sequencing skills. The next thing, so step number one, define your style of yoga, the style of yoga that you teach. Then assess the familiarity that your students have with yoga. Yeah, what are their needs? What is the purpose of them coming to class? And what is their level of awareness or the experience that they have with yoga? Because you want to meet your students where they are at and design sequences that are appropriate for their abilities and that really meet the goals with which they come to a yoga class. So define your students and get a little bit of insight into why they come to your class and what they need from you and what you can do to meet those needs and desires. Then number three, incorporate asanas that target strength, flexibility, and mobility, but also asanas that offer smooth. Actually, that would be step 4. Forget. So first, step number 3, target strength, flexibility, and mobility. Yeah. Then step number 4, include transitional asanas. So the asanas that ensure that your sequences are very smoothly, mindfully, and purposefully, and that they help your students to move from point A to point B with ease and with grace, so that we're not standing up in mountain pose and suddenly we're on the floor. There's a lot of steps that you can take in between to do that in a very smooth way. And it feels like more logical and more intuitive for your students. Then number 5, include the other elements like pranayama, meditation, and relaxation. All of these things will promote to help develop self-discovery. Yeah, you can include themes or a topic, intentions for your students, or ask your students to set an intention for themselves. There's a lot of different ways that you can play with when you create a well-rounded experience, a well-rounded sequence offering not just asana, but all of the other elements as well. And then number 6, be prepared to offer variations, offer suggestions, and props. Yeah. As a bonus tip, I'm just thinking of this right now as well, add authenticity, yeah, and upgrade your verbal communication. Because when you know how to provide your students with very clear and concise, but also compassionate verbal and physical cues throughout the yoga class, you will be able to really strengthen your student-teacher relationships, to really get to the depth of it and help your students develop in all the ways I mentioned before, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. All of these things help, all of those things you can do by really adding themes to your classes, intentions, meditation, pranayama, mindfulness, relaxation, and your authenticity. It's okay to also share your personal experiences, yeah? And for those that know, or those that have joined the mini course, you know that we're going to look at all of this in day 2 of the mini course. And of course, on the English for Yoga Teachers course, we've got entire modules dedicated to this. All right, so I've given you a summary already, but very quickly to recap. Number 1, define your style of teaching. Number 2, assess the familiarity that your students have with the practice and their needs. Number 3, incorporate asanas that target strength, flexibility, and mobility, especially of all the major muscle groups. Then include transitional asanas that ensure that your classes feel logical and intuitive. Include elements like pranayama, meditation, mindfulness, and relaxation. Themes or topics that promote self-discovery. And be prepared to offer variations, suggestions, and props. Okay? If I've missed anything, or if you would like to add anything to this list, always feel free to write to me. And if you have any questions, write them in the comments. Write them in the comments of the video. Here on Instagram or here on Facebook. I'm just checking now if there's any questions that have come in while I was speaking. But let me know. How do you feel about this topic? Has it given you some new insights or inspiration, things to work with? It doesn't show up on Facebook. Yeah, here we are. Any questions, anyone? It doesn't show up on Facebook. Can I play pause? Yeah. There we go. I don't see any questions on Facebook either. Well, I will take it as that was super clear. I hope it was all clear to you. If you go through the day and you have questions, always feel free to write to me. You can write to me in the DMs on Instagram, on Facebook, but also send me an email at annie@engaunite.com. In 2 days, we start a mini course and I would love to see all of you there. It's from the 10th to the 12th of March. If you haven't registered yet, you can find the link in my bio and on Facebook in the Facebook group. You have free access to everything if you enroll before the 10th of March. So make sure to reserve your spot. If you already know that you want to get a lot further and deeper, also sign up to the waitlist of the English for Yoga Teachers course. And tomorrow I'll be live with Carlos, and Carlos did the English for Yoga Teachers course last year, and he's going to share a little bit about his journey, what he's learned with us, and most of all, what he's doing right now, because he's making amazing progress and building a really, really amazing career for himself. So I'm super excited to share that with you too. Barbara said no question, but the link would be great. Yes, I will send it to you, and it's good to write everything down. Absolutely. And especially if that matches your learning style, right? Some people really benefit from writing things down. Thanks a lot for joining me today. Amazing to see so many of you. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow for the interview with Carlos, and on Friday for the start of the mini course. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.